Ever wondered what it's like to live in a world where everything feels larger than life? A world where you don't have to worry about grocery lists, bills, or standing in line at a coffee shop. Instead, your life is filled with music, glamour, glitter, and luxury. Honestly, it sounds like a dream. But for Mariah Carey, that's not a dream, it's her actual reality. And some people say she's completely stopped living in the real world. But here's the big question, can you really blame her? Think about it for a second. If you had a voice that could literally shatter glass, a career that gave you countless #1 hits, and a holiday anthem that earns millions every single year, would you really be stressing about changing your own light bulbs? Probably not. Most of us would lean into that life, even if we don't want to admit it. Mariah Carey has built a life that feels like a fantasy. Some call it being a diva. Some say it's her being out of touch. Others see it as survival. And that's what makes this so fascinating. Today we're going to talk about why she lives the way she does, how fame pushed her into this fantasy bubble, and why maybe, just maybe, it's not such a bad thing after all. Now let's go back to the very beginning, because none of this happened overnight. Mariah Carey didn't just wake up one day and decide, you know what, I'm going to live like royalty. No, her story is one of incredible talent, hard work, and then, almost instantly, legendary fame. In the early 90s, Mariah Carey's career didn't just start, it exploded. It happened in a way most artists can only dream about. She wasn't simply another new singer hoping to climb the charts. No, she was different. The world noticed her right away. Her voice was unlike anything people had heard. It was powerful, emotional, and had a range that felt almost unreal. Before she even hit her mid-20s, she was already being compared to legends. People were calling her the next Whitney Houston. Some even said she had shades of Aretha Franklin in her voice. Now pause for a second and think about that. Imagine being in your early 20s, just beginning adulthood, and suddenly you're being put next to two of the greatest singers of all time. Can you even imagine the kind of pressure that creates? One moment you're a young woman chasing a dream, writing songs, and trying to get noticed, and the next, you're standing on the biggest stages in the world. You're on magazine covers, you're on TV, and you have millions of eyes on you every single day. That kind of spotlight doesn't just make you famous. It doesn't just change your career. It changes your entire world. And when everyone starts treating you like royalty, it's only a matter of time before you begin to live like royalty. Not because you're full of yourself. Not because you've suddenly become arrogant. But because when that becomes the way people treat you every single day, it turns into your normal. It's the life you get used to. Now, here's where things get even more fascinating. Over the years, Mariah has become just as famous for her so-called diva habits as she has for her voice. These stories almost sound like myths, like gossip someone made up just to make her seem over the top. But here's the thing, they're real. For example, did you know she can't stand fluorescent lighting? She won't sit in a room with harsh, unflattering light. Instead, she actually has her own lighting team that travels with her to make sure she always looks her best. That's not a rumor, it's real. And here's another one that still makes people laugh. She once admitted she doesn't even know how to use a microwave. That's right. She said it herself. For most of us, that sounds unbelievable. Microwaves are such a basic part of daily life. We use them without thinking. But for her, it's not something she's ever had to deal with. And why would she? She's had assistants, chefs, staff, and a whole team around her for decades. If someone else is handling those things for you every single day, you don't actually need to keep up with them. Over time, you forget, or maybe you never even learn. That's how the bubble grows. Slowly, little by little. And once that bubble becomes big enough, the real world starts to feel far away. Distant. Maybe even unnecessary. Now, some people hear this and immediately say, wow, that's so out of touch. That's spoiled. That's ridiculous. And from the outside, yeah, it might sound that way. But let's pause here for a moment and ask a different question. What if this lifestyle isn't just about being spoiled? What if it isn't only about luxury and being pampered? What if, for Mariah, this is also a way of coping? Because here's the truth, Mariah's career hasn't been a perfect fairy tale. Yes, she's had the fame, the hits, and the wealth. But she's also had to deal with a lot of pain, and she's had to live it all in front of the world. She's gone through public relationship struggles. She's dealt with constant media attention. There have been times when her personal life was completely under a microscope. Every move she made, every outfit she wore, every word she said, it was all picked apart. That's not easy. And let's be honest. Living like Mariah does today isn't just about glitter, glamour, and Christmas lights. It's also about control. When the outside world feels unpredictable, when you can't control how people treat you, the only thing you can control is your own space. So maybe surrounding herself with a team that takes care of the little details, keeping Christmas decorations up year-round, or sticking to routines that seem over the top, that might not be about ego at all. It might be about survival. It might be her way of building a safe space in a world that doesn't always feel safe. Here's something most people don't realize. Psychologists say it's actually very common for celebrities to detach from reality. And honestly, it makes sense. Imagine living a life where everywhere you go, someone is watching you. People are judging you. Strangers are asking for photos. Paparazzi are waiting outside just to catch you looking tired or stressed so they can sell the photo to a tabloid. You don't even get to go grocery shopping without someone commenting on what you're buying. For most of us, that would create anxiety, loneliness, and exhaustion. So what do celebrities do? They protect themselves. They build their own little bubbles where the world feels safe. And Mariah Carey? She's one of the clearest examples of that. Her bubble might look outrageous to us, having a lighting crew follow her, not knowing how to use a microwave, living in a mansion that turns into a Christmas wonderland every single year, but for her, that bubble gives her peace. And peace is priceless. But here's the fun part. There's actually something we can learn from this. Because sure, most of us don't have Mariah Carey's fortune. We don't have a mansion, a team of assistants, or the ability to build a magical world that feels like it's straight out of a dream. But we can create our own bubbles in small, practical ways. Think about it for a moment. What would your bubble look like? For some people, it might be as simple as setting boundaries around their time. Maybe you're someone who always says yes to everything, work favors, family requests, social obligations, and by the end of the week, you're completely drained. Creating your own bubble could just mean learning to say no when your body and mind need rest. That's not selfish. That's survival. Or maybe your bubble is something physical, like creating a cozy corner in your home. Picture a little nook with soft lighting, a comfy chair, maybe some blankets and your favorite books or music. A space where you can just switch off for a while and not worry about the noise of the outside world. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to cost much. It just has to feel like a safe little escape. For someone else, their bubble might be about self-expression. Maybe it's decorating your space in a way that makes you happy, even if no one else gets it. Some people might think, why do you have fairy lights up all year, or why is your room filled with random posters, plants, or collectibles? But you know what? If it makes you smile when you walk in, then it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, your bubble isn't about other people's approval. It's about what brings you peace. And that's the real lesson we can take away from Mariah's world. Her life shows us that creating a magical environment isn't really about money or ego. Sure, she has the fortune to do it on a massive scale, mansions, lighting crews, staff, decorations that look like they belong in a holiday movie set, but at its core, it's about something simple. It's about protecting your peace. It's about saying, this is my space, this is my joy, and I'm not letting the chaos of the outside world take that away. We live in a world that can feel overwhelming. Constant notifications. Endless news cycles. Pressure to always be productive. Stress from work, school, family, relationships. It never stops. And in the middle of all that noise, it's easy to forget that we need places, routines, or even little rituals that give us comfort. Mariah just takes that idea to the extreme, but the principle is the same for all of us. So when people say Mariah Carey isn't living in the real world, maybe they're right. Maybe she isn't. But maybe that's not such a terrible thing. Maybe she's figured out something most of us forget, that sometimes, the real world can be harsh, and you're allowed to step away from it when you need to. Maybe she's simply found a way to build her own version of the world, one that works for her, one that gives her joy and safety. And honestly, isn't that what all of us are quietly chasing too? Now let me throw the question back to you. If you had Mariah Carey's fame and fortune, how would you live? Would you stay grounded and connected to everyday routines? Or would you lean into the fantasy, building a world where everything feels safe, controlled, and a little magical? Be honest. Because deep down, I think most of us would give in to that fantasy more than we'd like to admit. After all, who wouldn't want a life where every detail is tailored to make you happy? Drop your answer in the comments, because I'd love to know how you'd handle it. Would you go full Mariah and build a Christmas Wonderland mansion? Or would your version of a bubble look a little different? And while you're at it, if this video gave you a new way to think about Mariah, or if it made you reflect on the way celebrities live, I've got another video you'll love. It's all about why some celebrities feel super relatable, like you could hang out with them and grab coffee, while others seem so far removed that they feel like they're living on another planet. Trust me, once you watch it, you'll start to notice the little things that make such a big difference in how we see them. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed spending time here today. It helps the channel grow, but more than that, it tells me you're enjoying these conversations and want more of them. Subscribe if you want deeper dives into the hidden sides of fame, the human stories behind the headlines, and the fascinating way celebrity life connects back to our own. And of course, tap the bell so you never miss an upload, because you know I've got a lot more stories coming your way. Because here's the thing, our little YouTube community might not be Mariah Carey's bubble, but it really is its own kind of magic. A space where we can share ideas, swap perspectives, and look at the world through fresh eyes. And honestly, I'm just glad you're part of it.